He was once known as the most powerful demon king in all of history. However, after leaving behind unimaginable destruction and sinking into unpayable debt, the elders stripped him of his title and banished him to earn a living in the human world. The tale begins against the backdrop of an endless war between the continent of light and the continent of darkness, a conflict raging for centuries. The humans of the light lands launched crusade after crusade, trying to wipe out the Dark Clan, but they could never penetrate the fortified halls protected by the 7 demon kings. Of those 7, the mightiest was Merlin, the sovereign of the first hall. Merlin, however, is first seen distracted, trying to complete his weekly report, but unable to focus because the alarm bell outside his pack. His younger sister, Lilith, is out on the battlefield, using her charm magic to make human knights turn their blades against each other. But in the middle of the chaos, a knight resists her enchantment and slams her into the ground. With the spell broken, the soldiers rally behind the knight, who introduces herself as Alice, the 233rd hero of the kingdom. Lilith teases her for being a girl unaffected by her charms and mocks her cuteness, which only enrages Alice further. The two clash. Alice rushes in, but Lilith easily tosses her aside. Frustrated, Alice resolves to unleash her true strength. Lilith lashes at her with a whip made from dragon tendons, but to her shock, it shatters the moment it touches Alice's blade. The holy sword, Light Anthem, cannot be touched by a creature of darkness. Alice retaliates with magic, which Lilith manages to deflect, but Alice quickly closes in and binds her. The human soldiers cheer, but the noise draws Merlin's attention. He steps outside. Alice begs her master, the sage, to let her lead an attack on the Demon King's palace. The sage, however, dismisses her plea and instead summons an enormous whale-like beast, humanity's so-called ultimate weapon, capable of annihilating anything with a single strike. Alice insists they should only defeat the Demon King, but her master declares all demons must perish. He boasts that he alone once survived a battle with the Demon King, so he knows how cruel Merlin truly is. He orders the weapon to fire. Merlin suddenly appears to shield his people, accidentally crashing down on Alice in the process. Lilith clings to him, whining that the humans bullied her, while Alice snaps at him to watch where he lands. When Merlin asks who Alice is, Lilith dismisses her as a useless hero. Though Merlin realizes Lilith lost to her, she tries to excuse herself by claiming she simply underestimated her opponent. Alice demands to fight Merlin, but with the casual flick of his finger, he blasts her away. The sage calls Merlin his greatest enemy, but Merlin struggles to even remember who he is. Only when the sage reminds him of their past encounter when he begged for his life and promised to sacrifice his soul, Merlin recalls sparing him. The revelation shocks everyone, though the sage denies it, proclaiming he stands for justice and humanity. He then drains magical energy from his soldiers to unleash a devastating beam. Merlin, unfazed, slices through the monstrous whale with a single blow of his sword. Panicked, the sage pleads for forgiveness, trying to pin the blame on Alice. But before the conflict can continue, the ominous sound of a bell startles Merlin. His dreaded weekly meeting is about to begin. In haste, Merlin rushes back toward the palace, but Alice blocks his way. Annoyed yet amused, he decides to humor her with his dark blade vortex. The overwhelming strike tears through her defenses and even splits the ground itself. Later, at the meeting, other demon kings chastise him not for being weak, but for being terrible at finances. Though he brags about defeating countless crusades and slaying millions of humans, they remind him that his reckless battles have left the land of darkness and ruins. His debts now total 66 trillion yen, and they demand immediate repayment. Merlin tries to slip away, but Lilith interprets it as him playing hide and seek. He explains that the demon realm is too small for him and declares he'll venture into the outside world. Lilith suspects he was fired, but he insists it was his decision alone and that the elders begged him to stay, claiming his curse forces him to seek strong opponents or his heart will wither. He sets his sights on the human kingdom. Lilith warns he has no skills besides being a demon king. She offers to join him, but when he reminds her of the enormous debt he must repay, she quickly steps back, wishing him luck. As he leaves, she calls him a fool, convinced he'll return in tears. though she secretly hopes the experience will help him grow. But that's all for today. It was just a short recap.